Something I haven't done for a while, and that is, it's not Uncle Mike's Story Corner. It's just, I want to quote directly from a piece here written by, yes, Robert Redford. Redford, not only being a director and actor and producer, he's also a heavy-duty environmental activist. He co-founded the, what's it called, the Redford Center, I think, with his late son, James, 15 years ago. And the Redford Center is a nonprofit that uses the power of storytelling to initiate or galvanize or keep going environmental justice projects and regeneration projects in the environment. And, on that basis alone, I mean, I always was fascinated with Robert Redford's acting. I really was, have to admit. And at one time, for me, he was the Brad Pitt of a previous generation. He was so goddamn beautiful, wasn't he, Robert Redford? Oh, he really was. But anyway, his acting ability and his directing ability and the film festivals that he set up, I just always had a lot of respect for this guy. So I'm going to quote it for you. And it's something Robert Redford wrote. It's entitled, "What I See When I Think About the Future." It's not that long, so listen up. He writes, "There is so much I can envision for this planet. I can see a world where humans and planetary health and justice are fundamental values. I can see a world where everyone has a safe place to live, where environmental and economic injustices are addressed and repaired. What do you see when you think about the future of our communities, our country, and our world? For me, this is the first moment in my life in which there seems to be both a will and a way to address the environmental crisis at the scale that science and justice demand. But the clock is ticking, and we need to take immediate action to achieve a cleaner, healthier, and more sustainable future. I see crisis after crisis if the current inaction persists. I see no community safe from extreme weather events, fires, hurricanes, floods, drought. I see people becoming ill. I see countless lives being lost. I find hope in what I've witnessed in my time as an activist, and that is people on the front lines are taking a stand and raising their voices to make great change. I find hope in our youth who are demanding environmental justice and repair. People from all walks of life are coming together with the shared goal of caring for our planet and our people. But community power must be matched from the highest seats of power. It's time for Congress to act. For the past several months, Congress has struggled to pass a bipartisan infrastructure package and the Build Back Better Act, legislation with the potential to propel clean energy progress and mitigate the climate emergency at a scale we urgently need. While lawmakers have been bickering over the price tag and holding the bills hostage in Washington, our country has suffered. Wildfires have burned in several states, sweeping across more than 6.5 million acres this year. Hurricane Ida left parts of southern Louisiana without power and safe drinking water for weeks, while the remnants of the storm wreaked havoc in the Northeast, causing historic rainfall, catastrophic flooding, and the deaths of more than 50 people. If taken together as proposed, the Build Back Better Act and the bipartisan infrastructure package can create a more just and livable future for everyone. They include reasonable climate conservation and environmental justice provisions that can move us toward the goal of cutting carbon emissions in half by 2030, which is a science-based imperative to save the planet. As of late, the proposed clean energy investments include clean energy tax credits, resilience investments, clean energy technology, manufacturing, and supply chain investments, and incentives, as well as clean energy procurement. These investments must remain in this legislation throughout the ongoing negotiations. A clean energy future can create jobs, improve individual and community health, help stave off future climate disasters, and lower utility bills and energy costs, making life more affordable for everyone. It will directly improve the lives of those hardest hit by climate injustices, like families in Maricopa County, Arizona, where nearly 1 in 9 children suffer from asthma, in a place ranked by the American Lung Association as one of the worst counties in the nation for ozone pollution. For anyone feeling sticker shock at the price of the two bills, let's remind ourselves that the media have not helped us understand the true costs of what's being proposed. The $550 billion of federal investments over the next 5 years in the bipartisan infrastructure bill is less than the Pentagon's annual budget. And adding $256 billion to the deficit over 10 years is a bargain, given that we're making up for lost time and ensuring our viability on this planet. We can afford this, America, and we must invest in our future now. Debate and compromise in the U.S. Capitol have gone on long enough. It's time to act on this chance to make history. Members of Congress should remember that they work for the people of the United States and pass both of these bills. Moves toward a clean energy future cannot wait. Industry giants will not come around on their own with pledges and plans. They've had their chance. It's too late for that. I've spoken out about the environment for decades. It's comforting to have more voices in the mainstream pushing for change, especially now that the situation is increasingly dire. How many more voices are needed for elected leaders to listen, to move beyond their own interests, and to act in the interests of the greater good and for generations to come? What needs to happen next has never been clearer. Congress must come together and pass the Build Back Better Act and the bipartisan infrastructure package immediately. There can be no more compromises. Not a single provision or investment towards a safer, healthier, more just future can be downplayed or disregarded. There are no second chances in moments like this. It is time. Okay. That's not fire and brimstone. It's not your humble and obedient servant here screaming and using the F word and shrieking and Christian fascist this and Christian fascist that and the orange vomit this and that. I understand, but Redford has the ear of the entire country, the planet, when he wants it. No, seriously. Whereas your humble and obedient servant here is rather limited. And I don't know. I don't know if I get angrier than people like Robert Redford. I have no idea. But what I just shared with you is something that he wrote. He means it. I think it's important sometimes when a person that we all know or think we know, we're all familiar with, let's put it that way, when a person of that public stature, and Redford has that, takes the time to address an issue like the environment, saving the planet. I mean, come on. And the thing about Redford, and I think you know this as well as I do, he's not a dilettante. This is not something he just came up with because he had nothing to do last Saturday and said to somebody, hey, write me a speech. I'll put this out there. He has always, as far as I know, been focused on, well, to put it bluntly, saving the planet, saving our little nest here. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcast. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.